Yay! So we're going to Tuesday, March 5th. Hard to believe it's March. More Greek mythology. We're getting into stories about gods making poor choices. We have a few other things to hit first. One, right there, you have a new mythology homework, which is going to connect to the quiz that's going to be tomorrow. Camp Tecumseh stuff is due. I did close out the whole group thing for Camp Tecumseh. If you feel you need to make a change or you need to submit yours, because I had 40 kids not turn one in at all, then you can. It just costs you 3 B points every time that you need to make a change or submit a new one. But that's completely up to you if you would like to. If you've realized you've made poor choices, let me know, and then we can hook you up. And then for the homework for you guys, once again, is we have the 4 choice or the 4 options and the things on there, and it connects to the quiz tomorrow to help you out. In theory, if you've been paying attention, then you should do all right. Although I did put some tricky questions on there to try and make you think, but we'll see how well that thinking thing goes. Speaking of thinking, 9-week assessments. I've graded all of them. I graded all 175 in the last day. Woo, buddy. A couple issues with it. I had a lot of kids get A's, and I had a lot of kids get F's. The issue being is that some kids can't follow directions whatsoever. So what I've decided to do is to give you an option. And so at my special teacher meeting I went to yesterday, I presented this idea to try and get kids points back. You may redo your assessment if you want. If you choose to redo it, you can get up to 30 out of the 32 points. You can't get all 32, but you can get up to 30 out of 32. What I will do is explain to you what I was looking for on the assessment. If you feel you did this stuff, then do not redo it. You're probably one of the kids that got an A. If, as I explain things, you go, I didn't do any of that, you're probably one of the kids who got an F. In that case, you're going to want to fix it. But when can we know what grade we got on it? Once you know your grade, which is tomorrow, if you redo it after that, your max grade is a 28. I'm giving you a chance to get 2 extra points by redoing it before you know your grade. This is the bonus to those kids who know they screwed it up and want to fix it. I will hand your grades back tomorrow, and I will put it on Skyward for tomorrow. And at that point, if you want to redo it, you can, but you cannot get higher than a 28 out of 32. And if you have questions, it's going to be a minute because I have to talk. So here's what I was looking for. With your introduction, I was looking for an introduction that actually referenced the different stories, not a generic introduction, which a lot of kids did. They just went, integrity is great. I love integrity. Integrity smells like flowers. Do you have integrity? And it was just some random babbly thing. What I'm looking for was, did you mention the stories? Did you mention those 4 traits? Something that means it actually connects to this essay and not just a random essay about integrity. Then, on that one and on the conclusion, I did the same thing down there. I did not want a generic conclusion. You had to again mention the articles. If you didn't, but the rest of your intro and conclusion were good, I only charged you 1 point for each. So if your conclusion was decent, but all you did was not mention the articles, I only charged you 1, so you still got 3 out of 4. It's just to get the perfect score, you had to give me a perfect intro, which meant you had to actually mention things. For the second paragraph, or the main one, the body, the main thing I was looking for, I did not want you to retell me what happened in the article. I already read the article. If you retold me what happened in it, I don't care. I need you to tell me how they used the trait in the article. So in the homeless man, if you did that one, tell me how did he raise people up? Or how did he make better choices? Or how did he go down? So picking one of those traits and telling me what he did that works to that trait. Many of you, not so bad in here at the advanced class, you guys are a little bit better in this area, but many of the kids who failed it, they just went through there and just told me what happened. Congratulations, you lost 5 of your 8 points, because that's not what the question asked. The question said, what trait did they use? That sort of explained it. For the next one, the other article. So switch to the other one about like the teacher. These are the teachers, switch to the homeless man. But tell me either what did the teacher do, or what did the kid not do, or what did the rich baseball player do. But pick one of those and tell me what trait they did and how it connects to all of that. I was looking for how do you connect the traits, not what happened in the article. And then a conclusion that brings all of that stuff together. If you did these 2 middle ones slightly differently, and I did have some kids who instead, like in the first one, they just retold both stories, and then for the second paragraph, they went through there and told me how the things connect, that's not bad. I probably charged you at most 3 to 4 points. And as long as your intro and conclusion were all right, I would say do not redo it. because you probably got a 28 out of 32. And it's probably not worth redoing it to get those 2 points. It was more the kids. I had 35 kids get like a 20 out of 32 because when they went through and did these two, all they did was retell me what happened. So I'm trying to give those kids a chance to fix it. Now questions I can help with. Caleb.
Okay, so like I didn't understand that we were supposed to pick one trait for each, so I did all 4 for both.
Yep, I'd probably redo it.
Yeah, okay.
He said it.
I had a
like
lot
4
of kids do that one too, and they just randomly that's what we just sort of call babbling, and a lot of kids did that one. Yeah.
So I kind of told the story and then explained how
And I was not as grumpy about that because a lot of kids end up retelling the story. You just did a lot more work than you needed to because that was just not a thing I needed. And a lot of you guys spent like a whole page retelling the story, and at the very end of it, you actually did what I wanted. And I'm like, ooh, that was like 15 minutes of writing that was just not needed. So you just tortured yourself. Your punishment is the fact that you have to live with yourself. The worst punishment ever. Coons!
Okay, so this is a little confusing, but I did okay, so the second paragraph, I did both the homeless man and the teacher, except I did one of the thingies, how it connects to the other one. And then the next one, I was really confused, so I just did it again, but a little different. Did I lose points?
Probably.
Oh, great, I'm not doing it again.
Because that does sound confusing. And if I was grading and got confused, my easiest solution, just charge a bunch of points. It just solved the problem for me.
Oh.
Lion.
Wait.
So, for the first paragraph, so I retold the story, and retold both stories, and then I kind of explained how it connected to the other article. In the next paragraph, I explained 2 of the traits with them.
Could be. I don't know. I don't know what. Once again, if it's your individual one, just see me at the end. We'll deal with that problem. So if it's about your essay, see me at the end. Yes?
It's not, I promise.
Okay.
If you got a 32, then did you get a 33? So it's a bonus
No.
point?
Unfortunately, because they're not ones. It's not like a my class one. You didn't get a bonus point. So it's just the highest grade possible is just a 32. Yes. Sure. You want to try again?
Well, I have another question.
Yes. What's your question this time?
So, if we do it again, and our last score is better than our next, or our first score is better
That
than
should be impossible, but I would take the higher score.
Okay.
I figure your punishment is just writing the essay twice. So yes, I will take the higher of the 2 scores. If somehow, after me going through and giving you directions, you manage to do worse, that's probably on me. So we'll just hope that doesn't happen. Did you just anger stab your desk? Good stuff there. All right. Then, aside from that, We the People. I forgot. I have We the People applications if you are interested. It is purely optional. If you don't know what We the People is, it is a 2-part 8th grade class. It is Advanced English and Advanced Social Studies combined. And you have to take both of them. And it is the competition thing where we have currently they're going to nationals in D.C. coming up in May. They've won state like the last 3 years. Essentially, it is the high-level performing Advanced English Social Studies where you have to be good in 4 things if you want to do it. You have to be a strong reader, a reader of boring things, because you're reading the Constitution, articles of the United States, things that was written 200 years ago. You're going to read those, and 2, be able to understand them. So you have to be a good, strong, critical thinker. You also have to be a strong writer, because you're writing essays that you're going to be able to debate in front of other people. Which brings us to 4, you have to be able to be a strong speaker, because you are going to be not only speaking in front of other people, but debating and defending your ideas on top of that. If you are interested in that, I have applications for you. Just come see me at the end. I have to write down the names of the kids who are taking them, and it tells you what all is involved in it. It is a thing you have to try out for, and we do cut people for it. But it's also one of those top elite things if you are interested. If you have individual questions about you and whether you should do it, come see me at the end. And I can say, hey, yes, probably, or no, probably not, or I don't know, it's up to you. And so just sort of goes off if you know yourself and stuff from there. So that's the We the People, open to all of my classes. And so it's just, if you are interested, come to us. Coons.
Why did you say it like that?
Coons!
Okay. Does it take a lot of outside of school time?
Yes.
A lot? Or,
If only there was an application that told you all this information.
Whoa! I didn't have that.
I know. But yes, it does. It requires a lot of work on the outside. And so a lot of it is, there's homework that's involved, but it's not him giving homework as much as
You taking it?
you choosing to take this on because you're competing with other people. And so in order to be more competitive, you have to get better. Just like there's not necessarily a lot of homework in music, or if you're in choir or orchestra or band, but if you want to get top chair, then you're going to have to practice more than the other kids. This is basically a class full of all top chairs. So in order to do that, it takes a lot of outside time in order to remain top chair. But you get the privilege of being non-stop top chair. So how's that? Is it worth it to you or not? So for some people, absolutely. For other kids, I'm lazy. So you get to make your choices. Did you just raise your hand on I'm lazy?
Yeah.
Appreciated. All right. Now back to Greek mythology and learning from there as much fun as it is taunting kids. Let's taunt gods. In the very beginning of Greek mythology, the first thing to exist was
A big ball pudding.
Pudding.
chaos, which was the big ball pudding. You guys got both names correct. Go with And then chaos split to form two things.
Uranus and Gaia.
Nicely done. Gaia or Gaia, also known as
Mother Earth.
good job.
Father Sky.
Mother Nature.
And then Uranus
No.
or Uranus, also known as
Father Sky.
Father Sky. The two of them
Yeah,
existed.
with it.
Hang on 1 second. What time does class end so I know how long so you guys don't pack up on teaching? 11:14. I have like a half hour. So now if you guys pack up on teaching, I get to throat punch you. So now, with Gaia and Uranus, they're the only ones to exist for a long time until one day, Mother Earth approaches Father Sky and says, hey, I think we should have babies. They have the awkward eye contact thing. And at that point, we have our first set of children. How many are born?
3.
3. What gender are they?
Boys, ugly.
Ugly is not a gender. And so we have 3 boys. They are ugly. And they have the 50 heads, the 100 hands. They definitely have issues. Mother Earth loves them, gives them little gitchy-coos on their chins. How does Father Sky feel?
He
Very
throws up.
Throwing up and having issues comes in. He's not so happy about them. So what does he do about this throwing up problem?
Buries them in the
Buries them in Tartarus.
And as I say, what's the name
Oh,
of the
it's
place?
in
It's called Tartarus. So Scoopy gets rid of them. They're gone in Tartarus. Time goes by. Did we get to the next set of kids?
Yes.
Next set of children we have, once again, how many are
3.
born?
3.
What gender are they?
Ugly.
Nicely done. What are they called?
Cyclops.
All combined, how many eyeballs?
3.
Just checking. And that's where the Cyclops come in. All combined, they have their 3 eyeballs. Ooh. Size-wise, how do they compare to the first children?
Not as big.
Not
Huge.
No, they're tiny.
In comparison, come up to like the knee, maybe halfway up the shin, so much, much smaller. Mr. Broviak, how come you don't know the exact size? Because they're imaginary. There's no way to actually measure them. And so it's just roughly, they're smaller, so in comparison. And with these, Father Sky does not find them ugly. Did we get to what their issue was?
Yes.
They like stabbing each other.
They stabbed Father Sky.
What is it they used to do the stabbing?
An
They
axe.
made
They could make them themselves with this reaching into the earth and making the swords and the spears and have the stabby. And once again, Father Sky has no problem with them stabbing each other. He finds that adorable. When does Father Sky have issues with it?
When they
When
stab
jumps
off
him.
a mountain and stabs
When
him.
they stomp off a mountain and stab him. He's like, it's all fun and games until you stab your father. You guys probably had this conversation in your house too.
Yeah.
And so, did we
And my
get to
brothers.
what happened to the Cyclops?
No.
Okay.
That shouldn't have been.
So now, we got past the first stabby?
Uh-huh.
Did we get to the throwing of the spear?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
then
we
we-
didn't tell us what it did to Father Sky.
And so the first stabby is that's when Father Sky gets upset,
Uh-huh.
and then that's when one of the brothers years later comes up and forms a spear, chases down his brother, throws the spear as hard as he can, yeah! And when he does, it is flying through the air. Brother sees it coming, goes full Matrix, and just goes. As it goes flying right above him, watches the spear keep going up into the sky, and they all 3 go, oh no! And it goes wooga, flunk, right into Father Sky. Father Sky, who was just sitting watching TV, watching his favorite movie, remember the Titans, all of a sudden looks over and he's like, what is wrong with you children? Like, I'm sorry, it was him. He goes, what did I tell you about stabbing Daddy? You're like, that is bad. He's like, well, you're going to find out. He goes, now is time to introduce you to your other brothers. They go, we have other brothers? He goes, yes, you do. Father Sky reaches out, rips up the giant hole in the ground, reveals, what's the hole called? Tartarus. Takes, with his other hand, a giant chunk of metal, throws it into the pit. Achoo! The 3 Cyclops bend over, they go, ooh, giant chunk of metal. And the Father Sky goes, doink, 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 and pushes all 3 of them in there, into the pit, and they disappear, never to be seen again by Father Sky.
Mean.
Years go by. What do you think? That's mean. And things go well. Till one day, Mother Earth comes and talks to Father Sky. And she goes, sweetie. He goes, yes. She goes, so I heard these people talking. He goes, who are you talking to? She goes, doesn't matter. And they said, third time's a charm. He goes, third time what? She goes, with children, that the third one's always the best. And he's like, all right, we'll give it one more try. He goes, but after this, we're done. He's like, I'm retiring from this whole baby thing. He's like, if this set of babies is not perfect, we're never doing them again. She goes, this is the last one. I swear. So they both do like a little pinky swear on it, like, neither one of us has pinkies. Awkward. And they do a little pinky swear on it and say, last set of babies. So once again, awkward staring, they roll up their sleeves and go, 7th graders at a dance. And all of a sudden, out pop the next set of children. This time, they don't have 3. They don't have 6. They don't have 9. They have 12. It's like a litter of gerbils come flying out. They all come shooting up out of the ground. And they're much smaller. Instead of being like the Cyclops size or the big ugly monster size, compared to the Cyclops, they come up to like the ankle bone on the Cyclops. So compared to the big ugly monsters, like the size of a toe. So they're really, really small. And Mother Earth tries something new. She creates a thing called girls. And she creates 6 dudes and 6 girls by the names of the Titans. And here's where our Titans come in. And this is the next set of children that are born to Mother Earth and Father Sky. Once again, Mother Earth thinks they're adorable, hands out the gitchy goose, gitchy, gitchy, gitchy goose. Father Sky, once again, his eyes are closed. He's like, ooh, they're adorable. He's like, they're bite-sized. They're like, what? He's like, shh, don't worry about it. And so he goes out there and he's like, ooh, grabs a big chunk of metal, sets it down in the middle of the whole group and goes, hey, what can you do with that piece of metal? And they go. He's like, yay, we're keeping them. So he decides this set of children he's going to keep. And things go well. These 12 Titans hang out, run around on Mother Earth, and have a great time for years. And one day they decide they want to honor Mommy and Daddy. And the best way to honor Mommy and Daddy is to build like a temple, a palace to honor the two of them. So the way they want to do it is they want to find a place that is in contact with Mom, but is also really close to Dad, so that while they're in their temple, they can talk to both of them at the same time. And they come up with a great idea of where to go. Because where can they make this place that's both going to be in contact with Mom and near Dad? On a mountain. And they do. They go up to the biggest mountain they can find, and they build their palace up there. And what do they call this place?
Mount Olympus.
And that's where Mount Olympus comes in. So they are the first ones to build Mount Olympus. Inside Mount Olympus, each of the Titans decides they want to have their own throne to sit in. This way they can then bond with their parents. So each one creates their own throne. So how many thrones are created in Mount Olympus?
12 thrones.
And this is where we get the 12 thrones. So they have our 12 thrones sitting in Mount Olympus, and they get to talk to Mommy, they get to talk to Daddy. Everything goes well. Until one day, Mother Earth calls all of her children together and brings them down to Mount Olympus. She goes, children, we need to have a conversation. And they go, yes, Mumsy, what's up? She goes, well, some people were talking. They're like, what people? She goes, shh, don't worry about it. And I've heard about a thing that I would like to have, but I need your help to get them. They go, well, what is it, Mommy? She goes, they're called grandchildren. Now, apparently, I can't get them on my own, so I need you guys to get me some grandbabies. They go, okay, Mommy, we can do that. So she goes, all right, gets to grandbaby making. So now, all of a sudden, the 6 male Titans go, all right, I guess it's our job to make some grandbabies. Let's get married. Enough of this bachelor life. So the 6 male Titans look around to figure out who they can get married to. And they realize it's real slim pickings. Actually, there's just 6 people for them to marry. And that's it.
One for each.
And who do the 6 male Titans marry?
Their sisters.
Their sisters.
Gross.
So each of the 6 male Titans picks the hottest sister, and they each get married, and they start making grandbabies. And this is what creates Alabama. And so they start filling the world with all these little grandbaby Titans who start running all over the earth, and things are going wonderful until one day, Mother Earth calls them all together and goes, hey, things have been going great. I hate to stir things up, but I've heard there's this other thing out there that I would like. And they're like, what is it, Grandmammy? She's like, I've heard these things called great-grandchildren. Gets to working. And now all of a sudden cousins are marrying cousins, and they have all kinds of inbreeding, and they're like, we're going to call this place Kentucky. And things get even better. And now we have Titans all over the entire earth. Things are going well. People are all kinds of happy. Until one day. See how our story goes.
That's my favorite thing.
Mother
One day.
Earth realizes she's really happy, and things are going really great, except she really misses her original children. And she feels bad about the fact that they're not getting to experience all this joy and happiness. And she'd really like to have her original children back. But someone is stopping that from happening.
Father Sky.
Father Sky. So she decides the only way to get her original children back is to solve this Father Sky problem. And how do you solve the Father Sky problem?
You divorce him and stab him.
You kill him. If you're unaware, that here's how the gods went about problem solving. Option 1 was always you kill them. If option doesn't work, you go to option 2. And option 2 is you kill them. If option 2 doesn't work, then you always use your backup option of 3, which was to kill them. And if all 3 of those options don't work, you go, I'm out of ideas. And so that was where she goes. She goes, you know what? What it's time to do now? It's time to kill Father Sky. But she can't do it herself because she doesn't have any arms. So she decides she's going to have to hire the very first assassin. So she calls in one of her sons, a kid by the name of Oceanus. And she calls in Oceanus. And Oceanus comes in and she goes, hey, sweetie. He goes, yes, Mumsy. She goes, how would you like to be king of all the gods? He goes, ooh, that sounds, I like, wait, but Daddy's king of all the gods. She goes, I know. What are your thoughts on killing your father? He's like, I don't want to kill Daddy. She goes, oh, JK, you fell for it. That's a classic. Okay, out you go, send in your brother. And she goes through each one. The next brother comes in, she asks the same questions, same reaction. She goes through 5 of them till she gets to the last son and calls in the last one, the guy by the name of Cronus. And she calls in Cronus. And Cronus comes in. She's like, hey, by this time she's worn out. She's like, how would you like to be king of all the gods? He's like, I would. She's like, yeah, I thought you would. He's like, what about Dad? She's like, yeah, what about your dad? It's going to require you to kill your father. And Cronus goes, okay. She goes, whoa. What was that last part? He's like, all right, kill Dad. Sure, how do I go about doing that? She's like, I hadn't thought that part through. Give me a moment. She's like, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to create for you a magical weapon so powerful, it's going to allow you to damage your father. It might not kill him, but if we can hurt him enough, we can chase him away. And he was like, oh, that's a great thing. He's like, what are you going to call this weapon? She's like, I'm going to call it a scythe. S-C-Y-T-H-E. And she creates for him a scythe. Now, this scythe is made out of adamantium. Adamantium is the hardest metal known to ever exist. For those of you who follow your comic book movies, you should recognize adamantium because it pops up in there.
It's this shield.
No, that's vibranium.
That
A
is
good
vibranium.
try. It's actually Wolverine, schnickety. His claws and his skeleton was made out of adamantium. And they got that from Greek mythology. So she gives him this scythe and says, here's what you're going to do with the scythe. You are going to wait till your father comes down to give me a hug, and then you're going to jump up and go, booga, 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 stab, 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 and you're going to stab him until he runs away, and you get to become the new king. But the whole point of you doing this is I need you to free your brothers who are trapped down inside of me. He's like, gotcha. Kill Dad, free brothers. Sounds like a great idea. He's like, wait, when is it that Dad comes down to give you a hug? Well, according to Greek mythology, there was one time of day whenever Father Sky would come down to give Mother Earth a hug. And that would be? Sunset. She goes, hide behind a mountain. When he comes down to give me a hug, you jump up. And Cronus is like, sounds like a good deal. So he goes and hides behind a mountain and waits for that evening when Father Sky comes down to give a hug. Father Sky comes down, he's like, give me some sugar, baby. And goes down to try and give a hug. And as soon as he does, up pops Cronus. And he goes like, oh. He's like, hey, how you doing, Dad? And Uranus is like, I'm all right. You're looking kind of creepy. He's like, oh, what's that behind your back, son? He's like, just a sharp, pointy stick. And Uranus is like, just got more creepy. I'm just gonna run away now. And Uranus takes off running, and Cronus is like, oh, no, you don't! And takes off running after him, jumping off the tops of mountains, going choppy, choppy. And he chases after Uranus, jumping off the tops of mountains. And every time he does, he's like, choppy, choppy, choppy. And when he does, the choppy, choppies, when he goes chopping into it, big chunks of Uranus come flying off. And when these big chunks of Uranus come flying off, they hit Mother Earth, and they form new creatures. And these new creatures are going to pop up in later mythology stories. They're going to refer back to this moment and the jumping and the choppy choppy. Imagine, if you will, playing Super Mario Brothers. When you're going along, you jump into a square. But instead of hitting a square, you're chopping your father. You're like, best video game ever! And so he goes after his father going jumpy choppy, jumpy choppy, jumpy choppy, chases his father all the way to the edge of the world. Mr. Broviak, that's impossible because the world is round.
They didn't know that back then.
Ye of little Kyrie faith. If Kyrie Irving has taught us anything, is that the world is flat. And so that's what the Greeks believed also, the fact that the world was flat like a dinner plate, not round like a ball, because that's impossible. And so chases his father, I'll get you in a moment, all the way to the edge of this big flat dinner plate. And eventually gets Uranus, so he's backing up, so his little feet are on the very edge, and he does wuku arms, wuka, 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 as he's getting ready to fall off, and Cronus comes at him going, chippy, chap, chippy, chap, chippy, chap, chippy, chippy. And right before he gets to the final chippy, chap, and it comes down, Uranus goes, wait! And Cronus goes, what? And Uranus goes, I have something for you. And Cronus goes like, is it a present? And Uranus goes, it is a present. Cronus goes, I love presents. What is it? And Uranus goes, it's one of these. And he reaches into his pocket, and he goes, it's a curse! And he throws a curse at Cronus. And he goes, you are my child, and you are overthrowing me. And because of that, you shall be overthrown by one of your children. And one of their children shall be overthrown by one of theirs. And as long as my bloodline is on the throne, you shall continue to be overthrown by one of your own children. It goes over there on my desk. Cronus goes, oh no, not a wait. I could care less. And he goes ahead and jumps at his father to kill him anyway. And when he jumps, he goes like, ah! And Uranus turns and jumps off the edge of the earth. When he does, he disappears forever, never to be seen again. Some stories tell us that he hung onto the bottom of Mother Earth like on a little stalactite and just dangled down there like Luke Skywalker at the end of Empire Strikes Back.
No.
Other stories say that he jumps out into space and just floats away like an astronaut that's been untethered, and it's just like, oh no, poor choice, and it's just gone. However you look at it, he is never seen again in Greek mythology. Jesse?
The sky?
Do they explain the chunks of Uranus as the clouds?
No, that would make sense, but no. Once again, you're trying to apply logic. Eddie?
Was it the Romans or the Greeks that figured out because boats sink into the water whenever they sail off, that the world is round and that boats just don't sink into the water and then reappear later?
I think it was much later than both of them. So we'll just go with it was the Babylonians. Yes.
Wait, so they made Father Sky go away?
Yes.
But then,
What's
how
up there now?
is there sky?
Stepfather Sky.
Stepfather Sky?
You're trying to apply logic. Yes. We killed Daddy Sky, and now we have Stepdaddy Sky, which buys us presents all the time. So it works out all right. I don't know. Once again, you're trying to apply logic. It's only going to hurt your head.
It's So, one of what would it was happen his if I last like chunk? walked? That's this one.
Jackson, this is my time to talk.
Focus.
What would happen if I like walked up and the ground just started stomping wherever Mother Earth's face was? Like, I've done that before. I've never got.
So now, Cronus is the new king of all the gods. The problem is, once he's king of all the gods, why was he... What was the whole point in him becoming king of the gods?
So he can kill his dad.
No. To free the original children, which Mother Earth reminds you. It's like, hey, congratulations, I'm glad you killed your father. Once again, conversations I'm sure you've had at your house.
Right.
She goes, now it's time to release your brother. She's like, oh yeah, where are they? She goes, well, there's this pit called Tartarus deep down in the underground. There's this tunnel you're going to use. You take this tunnel, you get down there, these giant doors, you throw open the giant doors, and you'll release them. He's like, all right, let's go get those little rapscallions out of there. So Cronus goes down there and goes down this little thing, finds these gigantic doors. He's like, those doors are really big. He's like, well, I'm really small. And throws open these giant doors and walks in there, sees a big hole. He's like, hey, brothers, it is me. I am here to free all. Oh my God! He backs. He's like, what are those? Mother was like, those are your brothers. He's like, that's not related to me. He was like, that thing's humongous. Like, blah, 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 blah. He's like slapping his head. He's like, no. Mother was like, no, that's who you're going to release. He's like, no. Those aren't coming out because we would just be throwing up all the time, and that's all we would see. He's like, I can't let that out. She's like, but there's 3 of them. He's like, there's 3 of them? He's like, there's no way that's happening. He's like, I'm going back on this deal. She goes, you can't. He goes, just did. And so he refuses to let them out. Steps backward to the doors and goes, ka-chunk. Puts a little lock on there. He's like, they're just going to stay in there. And leaves them there and refuses to release them. Mother Earth is irate, but she can't do anything. She doesn't have any arms. She's like, I'm going to get you. He's like, sure you are, whatever. And so he just taunts her. And now, Cronus becomes the new king of all the gods. Things actually go pretty well with Cronus as king of all the gods. Things go well for quite some time. He goes up to Mount Olympus. The other gods are like, all right, I guess we're going to miss Daddy, but you're pretty cool. And he's like, thank you very much.
But then
One of the things he does as the new king of the gods is he creates for himself a squad. He's got these 3 brothers that he's going to hang out with all the time. And so these 3 brothers become part of his, inner circle. The first one is a guy by the name of Prometheus. And Prometheus becomes one of his first guy that he brings into his group because of a special ability that Prometheus has. Remember what special ability he has? We talked about his brother at one point, so I mentioned him. Prometheus can actually see into the future because he's so super duper smart. It was thought that he was so smart, he could just sort of do a whole, you're going to fail the test. What? I did. And so he could see in the future to know what's going to happen. And so Cronus loved having him around because he'd always help him win all the lottery games and stuff like that. So Prometheus and him become really tight. Well, Prometheus has a brother by the name of Epimetheus. And Epimetheus is the exact opposite of Prometheus, but he's still really friendly. And so his superpower is... He is super dumb. Now, I didn't say it was a good superpower. Now, with this being his ability, it's not just that he was super dumb, it's the fact that he could not see the future at all. Now, Prometheus could see into the future, but you have to realize Epimetheus could not see the future on any level, which made him dumb. Mr. Broviak, I can't see the future. Does that make me dumb? No. You guys are dumb for other reasons. Because you actually can see the future. You just don't realize you can see the future.
Seriously?
Here's an example. Allow me to demonstrate. We'll do a thought experiment and walk through me with this. Let's say we take a thumbtack. You put it on the desk in front of you, the little point up. And you take your right hand and you go whack on the top of the thumbtack. And you go, God, that was a poor choice. And you pick your hand up, pull the thumbtack out, put it back on the desk. Point side up. Take your left hand. Slam it back down. Now, before your hand slams back down, there's probably a moment where you go, this is going to hurt. Some of you, your ability to tell the future might be so strong, before the right hand came down, you knew it was going to hurt. That's called seeing the future. You know what's going to happen. Epimetheus never had that. For Epimetheus, it was slam. Oh, God. What? Smack. What? Woo. And he would just keep going because there was no level of future seeing. That's where Epimetheus' issues were. Now, they also had a third brother, a guy by the name of Atlas. And Atlas also had, now, they were not the 3 little bears. It wasn't super smart, super dumb, and super in the middle. Is not the way it worked. But nice try. With Atlas, he was super strong. And so he was sort of the Hulk of all the Titans, was the biggest and the strongest of them. He was also green and spoke in broken sentences, which just...
Like the Hulk.
No,
Wait, is that Green Giant?
Sorry, that's Marvel. I got confused.
But like the Hulk.
He did like to flex and point out things to the women. He was like, where are you going? The door's over there. And he'd point different directions like, oh, giggle. And he's like, oh, no. He was like, I'm going to fix my tie. And he just flexed. And so the 3 brothers would hang out with Cronus and sort of became his squad that he hung out with and things went well. Part of one of Cronus' issues is that he had anger problems. And whenever he got grumpy, he would sort of pick fights with other gods. And eventually Prometheus tells him, hey, you shouldn't do that. That's not very leadery to just go beat up people when you get grumpy. So let's find a way to help you out with this. So Prometheus goes, here's what we're going to do. Let's create a race of tiny gods. And then you can go around whenever you get angry, you can just go and crush them, and that'll make you feel better. And Cronus is like, that's a good idea. What are you going to make him out of? And Prometheus goes, well, we need to make him extra squishy. So when you get mad, you can stomp on him, and it'll feel really good. So they decide to make this first race of humans out of dirt and water. So he just took water, and when you put dirt and water together, you get mud. So he just makes the first race of people out of mud, and squishes out these little mud people, and then sprinkles magic dust on them, and they come to life. I'm a real boy. And they dance around. He goes, congratulations, this is the first race of humans. This first race of humans existed just for Cronus to come down and smash on. And for the most part, it was a pretty happy lifetime for them. For one, no women were invented yet. All we had were dudes. Plus, we only had summertime. Winter had not been invented yet. And we had no evil yet. Evil had not been invented yet. We already know that. You said no women. Ouch! Shots fired. And so because of that, it was considered the golden.
That were the roots of evil.
It was considered the golden age of humans during this time period when Cronus was the king. Things go really well. Till one day. Mrs. Cronus, a girl by the name of Rhea, known as the hot sister, eventually comes up to Cronus and goes, hey, good news, dear. I'm pregnant. And he's like, oh,
Like father, like
yay. And so realizes this is not going to go well. Because
He's cursed.
what is he afraid of?
Being
Curse.
overthrown.
They overthrown because of the curse. Here's the thing. He never actually told anyone else about the curse. So his wife doesn't know the curse exists. So when she comes up and says she's pregnant, he can't just get rid of the baby without bothering her. And apparently women get all upset when you get rid of their babies. Women. So he decides he's going to have to be creative. So this first baby's name is Hestia. Now, I know. How is it Greek gods would solve their problems normally?
Kill.
I'm proud of you. Good job. You would just stab the baby. And we're going to have to stop with baby stabbing. Tomorrow you have a quiz. Friday we pick up baby stabbing.